Hello. One second, guys. Let me get some tunes. Scorf. How are you doing? Up, Nguyen. I'm saying your name so wrong, right? I'm getting all my notes and stuff open before we continue. My guy, Reader, how are you doing? How are you doing? Okay, for myself, that's fine. No worries. There's also a new Jujutsu Kaisen episode I'm gonna be watching after stream. How many of you watched that? Okay, these are the theories we left off yesterday. Oh! Sequence 0 was relieved. Revealed, sorry, relieved. What? Revealed. Out already in 2 hours, I think. Sequence 0 was revealed, so I wanna write some things down. I didn't do it last time. Let me minimize Google Drive. I think I did already actually, but I just edited a older note. You know what? I think, do you know how it's better? Let me do this. I'm gonna copy all of my theories. I'm gonna go in the bottom of the notes. Paste my theories. Okay. How do I add a check mark? This is confirmed. Anyone know how to add a check mark? Insert. Symbol. Emoji. Wow, that's production quality, right? That's production quality. New allies, new identity. Yep, I got that right. Not yet, so this is gonna leave empty, but if everything goes smoothly, it's gonna work out. Not yet. Hints joins the Tarot Club, insane. We're gonna see King George, not yet. 008 has consciousness and plots against Ints, not yet. Leonard and Klein team up, but Klein is under hidden identity, not yet. Oh, this is a bad omen, guys. Susie dying. Hopefully I'm not jinxing it. Ints plotting to advance to sequence 3. I mean, these are two different theories though. Ints teams up with circuit organization, but Klein fully digesting sequence 7 by the end of the volume. Not sequence 8, by the way, sequence 7. Marcel is going to mention the Grey Fog. He hasn't. Klein is going to open a detective freelance business. Yep, there we go. Klein is going to hire teenage boy. We are reading Lord of Mysteries, Emir. Thank you, though. How are you doing, by the way? Now, the teenage boy hired Klein. Do I count it or do I not count it, by the way? Still has time? Sure, I'm gonna leave it open. Mr. Door, sequence 0 of Apprentice, is murmuring to Force. Emperor of the Underworld, Death, the half-insane Blood Emperor, Monster, the Night Emperor of True Nonsense, Empire, Sleepless, I don't know. Okay, we don't know that. That's just very ambiguous though. Ooh, this was wrong. You know who joined the world? You know who chose the world Arcana? Klein himself. So this is our first. This is our first. What's it called? X. Yep. This is our first X. Not confirmed. Ian stole the manuscript, but my theory is that the manuscript is a high sequence beyond the item, but it wasn't confirmed just yet. So you can be left open. Civil War. Sauron family to power, not yet. Seer and Monster neighboring pathways. Monster is the Fate pathways. Seer has connections to the Fate, but not its main topic. Nope. 008 is a high level dragon pathway artifact or monster pathway artifact. Klein also said so, but it wasn't confirmed. Beyonder who reads Klein's notes is sequence 5 or sequence 6 Seer Beast Tamer. Secret order, it was wrong. That was wrong. This is not confirmed yet. Not confirmed. I mean, Manipulator is Vector Pathway, that's confirmed, but we don't know about this. We don't know. I don't know. Mime and or marionettist and or freak of something on the Seer pathway. I'm counting it because I said or, right? So I'm counting it. Lawyer and Son pathway are interchangeable. I don't know. Okay. That's it. That's it for now. What's up, Dom? Dom Bombardi. What's up, dude? Okay, let's start reading, guys. U68. These are my theories, so keeping those around. Why do I hear myself? It's fixed now. The cemetery and the hospital. If music is too loud, please let me know, okay? Okay, I start recording as well. I'm gonna show the Patreons who watch. I put my theories. Leaked. I put my theories inside Drive, and I added like ticks and X's to things that were right and things that were wrong, right? We can quickly check here. Anyway, I mean so far. Okay. The cemetery and the hospital. When the steam metro arrived at the southern bank of the Dussac River, Klein rented a carriage and headed to the Aston Cemetery on the outskirts of the South Borough, which was managed by the search of the god and steam and machinery. Under the darkness of dusk, the trees around the cemetery seemed to bear the fangs and brandish their claws, blocking out the light like monsters lurking in the darkness. After the carriage driver took the 4 solly Klein paid, he looked at the cemetery and muttered, "Do you need me to wait here for you?" "No, there's no need. I'm here to visit a friend." Klein came up with an excuse and immediately noticed the change in the driver's face. "It's a cemetery. To visit a friend with the sky already dark." Driver could hear his own heart thumping. "Are you scared, driver?" Klein jolted to his senses, smiled and added, "He's the Doomkeeper here." The carriage driver was immediately relieved, but he didn't dare stay. He quickly drove the horses and left. Klein circled the graveyard until the night truly set in. After dark, the smoke and dust emissions decreased by a lot. In addition to the biting cold wind, the fog in the air thinned a lot, although few stars could be seen. The crimson moon made a furtive appearance, covering the ground with veil-like glow. Klein tapped his chest 4 times clockwise, throwing out the crimson moon. Then he put on his gloves and the copper whistle and held it in his hand. Also, what I forgot to mention is that we are now officially going after Lanevus, right? And we also, of course, learned last time about sequence 0 being the highest pathway sequence. He looked around with a high degree of caution, randomly found a secluded corner, took out Asik's copper whistle and held it in his hand. Not far in front of him was a tombstone. The photograph on it was sturdy and the epithet appeared extremely blurry in the moonlight. Klein carefully read it for a few seconds before figuring out what they were. Friend, if you're passing by, help me up, thanks. A very humorous gentleman. I choose you. Klein stopped, leaned back against the trees that sheltered the grave from the sun and rain, waited patiently in the cold, chilly night. Interesting, Klein. And waited patiently in the cold, chilly night. He drew Ozzy's copper whistle up before catching it firmly, repeating it several times to pass the time until 20 minutes later. No signs of the dead coming back to life. Klein clicked his pocket, watch shut, surveyed his surroundings and confirmed the result. I forgot to change the chapter name. 1 second, guys. It's no longer 67. I'm sorry. I'll come back here in 2 days to see if there are any additional changes. If there are none, it means that Mr. Asik's copper whistle won't be able to affect corpses that have been laid to rest through the priest ritual. Oh, trial and error, right? That's what his theory was earlier as well. So he's actually testing his theory to make sure that, you know, confirm or deny his theory, right? But laid to rest through a priest ritual. Klein silently muttered to himself and he put the ancient and exquisite copper whistle back into his pocket. It's 6-8. See? There were 3 kinds of burials in the Lion Kingdom. The first type had coffins and corpses suitable for the middle and upper classes living in abundance. The second type was the ones without corpses, so a cremation was held. The remaining ashes were placed in urns. This was a choice of the lower middle class and technical workers who could pay for the cremation but found coffins to be too wasteful. Yeah, true, because you also pay for the space, right? Like graveyard space. There were also times when the religious and governmental factors had an impact, such as the believers of eternal blazing sun. The majority of them underwent cremation, and the poor people only had to pay a small fee for the cremation due to the help they received from the government. The dirt only belonged to the poor. Yeah, they couldn't afford coffins and they didn't fish for cremation, so they just wrapped the corpse up and buried them, yeah, randomly, or like mass graves or something. What Klein had already determined from the tombstones and tombs, the target of his experiment was the kind which involved a coffin and a corpse. If Ozzy's copper whistle really can cause the dead to rise, even the target had rotted into a pile of bones, there shouldn't be a complete lack of reaction. Even if the lid of the coffin cannot be opened, it shouldn't at least create a dull thud. Yeah, because the zombie tried to get out, right? As he walked towards the fence, Klein suddenly thought of a non-rigorous part of the experiment. Also, notice how Klein chose the tombstone that was like dusty and unkept. Because when he leaves the copper whistle there for 2 days, he doesn't want any like visitors to like take his whistle, so probably chose that one because it's not being tended to, right? Yes, as he walked towards the fence, Klein suddenly thought of a non-rigorous part of the experiment. Yes, I need to categorize them. The corpses here have been buried for quite a while. I should find a target that was recently buried. Only by doing so will I be able to arrive at the most accurate conclusion. After that, Klein basically played a game of cat and mouse with the cemetery guardians before finding a grave that had completed a burial ceremony during the day. This time he waited for half an hour, but they still didn't find anything abnormal. Yeah, they're blessed. Again, basically determined that Mr. Asik copper whistle can't affect the corpse that has undergone a ritual that puts the soul to rest. That's quite weak. No, that's not right. This copper whistle isn't meant to cause the dead to come alive. Used to summon messengers, so affecting a corpse is a negative effect. Klein tightened his double-breasted coat and walked toward the iron fence. I mean, when he brought back that senator guy or MP guy, member of parliament guy who was sleeping with Sharon, are we sure it was because of the whistle? I'm pretty sure that like the whistle reacted to it, right? Maybe can there be a possibility that it was something else other than the whistle? Klein. Klein tightened his double-breasted coat and walked toward the iron fence. He planned on heading home to have a change of clothes before trying out his second experiment. The target of the second experiment group were the recently deceased corpses that haven't been laid to rest via ritual. Okay, you can find some, I guess, in the morgue. Such targets often existed in the hospital's morgue. Yeah, there we go. Ideas are flowing in Klein. Coming over the fence, Klein made his way back to the South Borough on foot in the dreary dark night. The surroundings were deathly still and quiet. Only the evergreen dust-covered trees slightly swayed. Nice, Tuhin. Am I saying your name right, Tuhin? It reminded him of the night he had been resurrected from the dead. Back then, he too had to walk from the cemetery to the city. Oh wow, yeah. I mean, these are not really good memories though. Ugh, Klein sighed and suddenly began to run, as trying to get rid of the melancholy that filled him. More than half an hour later, he rented a carriage in South Borough and headed for the nearest steam metro station. There was still about an hour before the metro stopped running, and this could save him quite a bit of money. In the wee hours, that's so British, by the way, in the wee hours, in the morning, Klein changed into a greyish blue worker uniform and wore a cap as he made his way to St. Aistin Hospital in the BACKLUND Bridge area. Come on, this is gonna be absolute cinema, how he's gonna act. He's gonna act as like a hospital person, you know what I mean? This was a charity, not a hospital person, but like he's gonna act as a laborer and somehow get access to the morgue. It's a charity hospital belonging to the Church of the God of Steam and Machinery. Many of the board died here due to illness, and since there was nowhere for them to place their bodies, they had to get in the hospital morgue. There the corpses awaited cremation from the government or to be donated to the medical schools. This phenomenon was very common in summer, but there weren't many in the autumn or winter after it cooled down. However, in an era without air conditioning or equipment to keep the temperature cool, the hospital morgue couldn't keep the corpses for too long. The bodies would be quickly embalmed and bodies to be buried the next day would be cleaned up. Of course, these were the rules enforced in summer. In autumn and winter, the rules were relatively relaxed. Therefore, there were still many corpses left overnight in the morgue during this period. The morgue at St. Aistin was underground. It was relatively cool even during the summer and was biting cold during autumn and winter. There's no way random person can just walk in there. What's up, Killex? How is my demoness doing? Based on what he had learned as Nighthawk, Klein relied on Clown's agility and balance to sneak. Okay. Interesting. While avoiding the doctors and nurses that were on duty. I wonder if anyone like sneaked into the morgue as like a corpse collector and just collected the corpses. Before he even got close to the morgue, he felt a chill down his spine. After quickly moving past the janitor room, Klein took out a piece of wire and lightly unlocked the door to the morgue. Wow, he lockpicked it. Imagine Klein lockpicking it. It was one of the methods of infiltration and tracking. True. He slowly and silently pushed open the door and the morgue with his black gloved right hand. I thought he was gonna go like, oh, can I identify a body, please? At the same time, he cloaked Asik's copper whistle in his spirituality to determine if such a method could eliminate the negative effects. Temperature in the morgue seemed to be lower than the corridor. Most of the corpses were backed up and placed in different iron cabinets. Only a few were placed on the long table in the general's open space as if they were awaiting examination. As Sequence 8 Clown, Klein was no longer afraid of such scenes. He just instinctively felt uncomfortable. Carefully closed the door and walked around the long tables. After about 10 minutes, Klein let out a breath of cold air and confirmed that none of the corpses had come to life. Oh, it's not about blessing then. Maybe Klein had the complete wrong idea about the copper whistle being able to resurrect corpses. Or bring zombies into life, right? When he was ready, Klein withdrew his spirituality and stopped enveloping Asik's copper whistle. It's about time. He took out his gold pocket watch and opened it. When he was ready, Klein withdrew his spirituality and stopped enveloping Asik's copper whistle. He wasn't sure if it was psychological effect, but he had a baffling feeling that the surroundings had become even more silent. As a seer, he fully believed in his instincts. He stopped pacing back and forth and retreated towards the door. Time ticked by and Klein determined that it took about 2 minutes. At that moment, a corpse on the long table suddenly sat up. Oh, never mind, it is about blessing then. Boom, boom, boom. The surrounding iron cabinets emitted a series of banging noises. Like this, guys. As though as hell was about to break loose. Upon hearing such a commotion and seeing the corpses sit up, Klein suddenly said in a low voice, "Crimson." Immediately following that, he injected his spirituality into a requiem charm and threw it out. Icy blue flames burned quietly and serene, and gentle blackness spread out. The corpses lay down once again, and the banging sounds coming from the cabinets came to an abrupt halt. Klein, who had experienced a similar situation, didn't relax and use another requiem charm. Nice. Klein is locked in here, like he's not even panicking one bit. As there were many corpses around him, he used the third charm to be safe, using up everything he had. Not bad indeed, only affects corpses that haven't been put to rest via ritual. Damn, I can't believe he predicted that, by the way. Priest magic, it prevents a zombie apocalypse. Imagine, by the way, if one of the... I mean, yeah, if you have... As long as you have priests, you can avoid a zombie apocalypse, but I feel like it can still go out of hand, you know what I mean? Like, there are not that many... I mean, maybe there are a lot of priests out there, but let's say there's like a part of the land where there's no priest. There's like 100,000 zombies. Then it's gonna get out of hand, I feel like. Not bad indeed, and only affects corpses that haven't been put to rest via ritual. This includes corpses that haven't been dead for too long, and zombies. Using my spirituality to shield, the whistle can prevent such effects, Klein thought with a smile. Seeing that none of the corpses were making any abnormal reactions, he prepared to open the door and leave. At that moment, I suddenly heard footsteps coming in from outside and saw a faint light seeping in. The elderly janitor had been attracted by the banging sound. Oof! In the morgue, he was approaching with a lantern in hand. Oh no, bad. You know the Metal Gear Solid sound? The caution sound. That's what Klein heard. Klein looked around, placing his hand on the door. He nimbly jumped, stopping at the spot between the door and the ceiling. What? That's cold! His fingers dug into the bumps and cracks as he maintained perfect balance. The elderly janitor opened the door with his hand and entered the morgue. He took a few steps forward, held up his lantern and examined the iron cabinets and long tables, as well as the corpses. Behind him, Klein nimbly jumped down and landed silently. Wow! A cat! Seizing the opportunity, Klein quickly escaped from the morgue. He used the janitor's room to hide in for a few seconds before carefully returning to the upper floor. After the elderly janitor surveyed the surroundings and didn't find anything out of the ordinary, he mumbled a sentence in fear of the corpses and quickly left. He locked the door and didn't stay any longer. Wow. Ah, I see for myself. I see. What's up, Bat Bloom? What are we doing? Returning to the card room, he wrapped a thin blanket around himself and took several minutes to calm his racing heart before mumbling to himself in a low voice. Those old guys always tell me about the weird things that happen in the morgue, hoping to scare me. Those weird sounds just now should count as well. It doesn't matter, those corpses didn't come back to life either. Pui! There are no such things as zombies and wraiths. Buddy. At the same time, Klein was walking comfortably along the quiet dark streets, happy to be free of a latent threat. Successfully infiltrated a morgue, was doing trial and error on his theory, confirms his theory, leaves. Wow. He looked at the elegant cast lamp that was lined in the sides of the street and looked forward to the future beyond their gatherings. As long as he obtained a weapon with a special effect, he could be able to obtain one of the main ingredients of a magician. I know, right? Although I don't have much money right now. You have 189 pounds, no? I still have a lot of assets that I can use to exchange. For example, the telepathist formula. You can sell it at the gathering, right? Or the formulas for bard and light supply, and furthermore my clown potion is digesting at a faster rate than I expected due to a series of events and my discovery of the essence needed for quote-unquote acting. It's close to being completely digested. Wow, okay, maybe a few more weeks. Along the streets of BACKLUND at night, Klein left his mind wandering. Is it still September, by the way? I think it's like early October now, right? I think it's early October. 269. I mean, this episode, or this chapter was just, you know, Klein going to the cemetery and then Klein going to the morgue and figuring things out. It was pretty cool. Any mods? What's Becca's name on Discord, by the way? Praga. Rear, are you here? Or Hopelen, are you here? Unguyen thinks I called him Rear. Do you want to be a mod? Rear, Panber. Sure. Don't be naughty, okay? Seems that we are lack of moderating again. Okay, you're a mod now. Anyway. Let's continue, guys. Clues to the psychology alchemists. On the outskirts of Empress Borough in a wide, empty horse track. Oh, betting on horse racing? Uma Musume? Audrey Hall deliberately led a chestnut mare to a corner and pretended to discuss something with Viscount Claint. Ooh, welcome back, Claint. She was wearing white pants and knee-high black boots. Oh, I want to see Audrey ride horses! A door with a simple blouse and a black jacket that reached her waist. In addition, she donned a helmet of the same color. She looked especially valiant and beautiful, and Susie, her golden retriever, was obediently sitting by her feet. Wow, that seemed like a tiny leather satchel hung from her back. Disguised as Viscount Claint's servant, Chio glanced enviously at Audrey's long, straight legs and unconsciously tiptoed. Ah, short queen. Chio is short queen. Just horse riding is so blasé. Blasé? Oh my god, I don't want to learn French words, but I guess we have to, guys. I don't even have that letter. Oh, I do, actually. Unimpressed within or indifferent something because one has experienced or seen it so often before.
Blasé.
Yeah, Chio is great, I agree. Just horse riding is so blasé. Only when it combined with hunting does it become imbued with life. Of course, I mean the equestrian skills from men. No matter what a beautiful lady does, it will still be a sight to behold. Fucking Claint. Claint stopped Audrey and said half jokingly. Audrey replied with a slight smile. The next hunt is still months away. Every year from June to New Year, the aristocrats of Lauren Kingdom will come to BACKLUND to attend various banquets, dances, and salons. As per tradition, this was very important for them, and many things will be decided within a few months. After the new year, the nobles will return to their fiefdom, the castles, country estates, and large plantations, and spend their leisure time there. In such times, the most popular sport was hunting, of course. The nobles will invite guests. Surprising amount of French words used in English. I have a surprise for you, bro. English is just badly spoken French. You know why? But French words make up massive portion of English, often cited as around 29 to 45%. It's not just cuttlefish, it's actually a lot. It's like 30% of English words are actually French. How many English words does French have? Sure. No, this is... No. How many English words does... No, this is the answer to the same topic from before, by the way. They don't know, I guess. Whatever. I mean, beautiful is French. Government is French. Viscount is French. Okay, listen. Nobles, French. Guests, French. Enjoy, French. Pleasure, French. Financial, French. Situation, French. Like, in this alone, half are French words, by the way. Anyway, the nobles will invite guests of similar status to enjoy the pleasure of house riding and chasing prey. As long as their financial situation allowed it, they weren't stingy with buying hounds. Ah, okay. The most famous one of the hounds was the foxhound. I already missed that life. Backland is a place where people feel constrained, and its air is indescribably terrible. Of course, the smoke, by the way. Of course, I still enjoy in its extravagance. Viscount claimed for his gloves and stepped back to make it easier for Audrey to talk to Gio and Force. Honorable Miss Audrey, why have you called us here this time? Gio initiated the question as she retracted her gaze. Audrey took a large portion of most of her recent income. She was honest and generous. I rarely encountered good employer. I seem to smell the ink of money again. Hopefully the mission won't be too difficult. Miss Audrey is perfect in every way, except for one thing. Every mission is unexpected and very dangerous. Gio thought, feeling both anticipation and apprehension. She couldn't help but glance sideways at Force. She noticed that her companion, disguised as a maid, was looking right at her. The expression reflected in their eyes looked very similar. Audrey held in her... why do I know French so much? Because I'm interested in languages, that's why. So like, these words like here, for example. A generous, encountered, employer, portion. They have like French roots. The expression reflected in their eyes looked very similar. Audrey held her gloves, smiled reservedly and elegantly before saying, "It's simple request this time. Oh, to look up info about aristocrats, and also to find Lanevos's location so we can execute that motherfucker, right?" As she spoke, she motioned with her eyes for Gio and Force to open the leather satchel on Susie. Gio, who had always been known for her proactiveness, immediately took 2 steps forward and bent down to reach out with her hand. During this short period of time, she had originally wanted to pat Susie's head to show that she meant no harm, but just as she extended her right palm, Susie had already turned her head, turning her body half around, placing the small leather satchel in front of her. I'm usually popular with animals, for example, mosquitoes. Oh my god, that's so relatable. Gio kept her expression unchanged as she unzipped the satchel and took out a stack of papers from Susie's leather pouch. Do you know one thing about living in a cold country? That's a really good thing. You know, there are no mosquitoes during winter, autumn, most of autumn, and most of spring. That's the best thing, bro. She stood up and took a look at the stack of papers. She saw that it depicted a young man with ordinary looks, but his neatly combed hair, round glasses, and mocking brown eyes all looked very familiar to her. Executed, man. I must seen him somewhere. Really? Gio looked down. Maybe newspaper? Gio looked down and saw the corresponding description. Formerly used name Lanevos, wanted swindler. I know where I've seen him before. She was suddenly enlightened and almost made an inelegant gesture of slapping her forehead. Oh, like that. Before she met Audrey, one of the main sources of her income was flipping through newspapers, researching wanted posters, and using her connections in many gangs in Eastboro to seek out criminals who were worth fat bounties. Oh, Gio was a bounty hunter. That's so fucking cool. I had thought of finding this Lanevos who has a bounty of £100 only. Besides, he swept away more than 10,000 in cash. I mean, £100 is... How much is that? Oh, it's $18,000. Fair enough. However, he recently been too busy with Miss Audrey's request and had forgotten about this matter. Gio and Force looked at each other and then asked frankly, "How much is this request worth?" How much is this request worth? Audrey was startled for a moment. Oh yeah, because who's paying, right? Yeah, one time I'm late to your stream and start early. How is this time early, bro? Okay, welcome, Becca. Thank you for coming. When were your examinees ever given money? Sorry. She had completely forgotten the matter of payment, as from her point of view, it was a test from Mr. Fool. Yeah, I know, right? But Shio and Force don't know about that. When were examinees ever given money? £100? Audrey deliberated and gave a number. Deal! Shio and Force answered in unison. Don't they get double money, though? Don't they get like more like 8k? I mean, my math is really bad. Isn't it 100 times 189? No, it's 19,000. What are you saying, broski? Unless it was 13. Unless it was 131. Wait, we have to consult the notes, guys. $136. My bad. It's 13,000. Sorry. It's 13,000. So I'm guessing they're getting double than that, right? Because they're gonna collect the official bounty as well. Theo. Theo. Isn't Theo from what's his name again? Jojo. Shio and Force answered in unison. If we can catch him, not only will we receive £100 from Miss Audrey, but we can also obtain an equal amount from the bounty. What a great mission, Shio asked casually, her eyes shining. Why are you looking for this swindler? Did he swindle you out of your money? I don't even know who he is. It's a really simple request. £100 is enough to complete the deal. There's no need to tell Mr. Fool about this. It's only £100. Only £100? Audrey, with a polite smile, ignored Shio's question and instead mentioned, I received word that he's in Backland. Yeah, but that narrows it down, sure. But Backland is a big city, right? And it probably changed looks as well, right? Yes, there are dozens of portraits here. Who's speaking? Yes, there's a dozen of portraits here, different portraits. I took into account that Naneo must have disguised himself, so I'm giving you pictures of him without glasses, with a beard, with a change of hairstyle. Pictures based on conjectures. Did the fool draw them up, or was it Audrey drawing them up? Not so very good at drawing and painting, Audrey tilted her chin. She immediately forgot her previous question and said in pleasant surprise, this is really good news. She felt as though she could already see the bounty of £200 beckoning at her. Beckoning is like this, right? Like, come here. This is beckoning. The mysterious person she had met at Mr. A's gathering had yet to establish contact with her. Therefore, all she could do was continue with her business of earning money. Audrey nodded indiscriminately. She muttered, do you have any leads on the matter regarding the psychology alchemists? Ooh, interesting. Let's see what Force says. Force adjusted her long curly hair, looked at Viscount Claint, who was listening to the side, and said, I recently joined a new Beyonder gathering. Rumor has it... Looked at Viscount Claint, who was listening to the side, and said, is it Force saying or Viscount saying? I think it's Force saying. I recently joined the new Beyonder gathering. Rumor has it that the Spectre and telepathy potion formulas have previously appeared there. I'm suspecting that one of the members from the gathering is from the psychology alchemists. I'll apply to bring you with me the next gathering. Alright, Audrey deliberately didn't hide her joy. She had read their true state of mind from the colors, body language, and the subtle expressions of Shio and Force to judge their enthusiasm for the mission. They didn't lie regarding the psychology alchemist either. Viscount Claint mumbled. Audrey's matter seems to me on the brink of success. Where's my formula, Audrey? There are really no clues as of yet. The apothecary pathway is mostly in the south, where the Feinapoto kingdom is. Force gestured with deep regret. Alright, I'm still young. I'm only in my 20s. I still had time to wait, Claint replied in humorous tone. Alright, thank you for your help. See you again next time. Audrey bowed gracefully, wore her gloves, and mounted her horse as she rode down the track. Ooh, Audrey riding a horse, man, I can imagine that, dude. Lucy happily followed as she had found new entertainment. As he spent the night experimenting, it was already 9:34 of a Tuesday morning by the time Klein woke up. Tuesday is the worst day for real, because, you know, it's the furthest away from Monday, right? Biting into a piece of bread slathered with butter, he wore his coat and hat, hurried out the door, and wrote on the message book hanging by the doorbell pull rope. Owner is out and will be back after 5 in the afternoon. So, by the way, I just want to say as well, execution of Lanevus seems to be approaching. Maybe in the next like 10 or 20 chapters, Lanevus is gonna get killed. Can't wait, bro. Sweet revenge. Your food got cold when the stream started. Oh, it's because I always delay the stream. Not today. Actually, he didn't have much to do. It was purely to guard against the sudden visit from Millet Carter. Oh, the other party found out the detective he hired for a full 50 pounds wasn't out and about searching for information or organizing people to confirm the layout of the structure, and was instead at home leisurely drinking tea, reading novels. He will surely revoke the commission and not pay the last 40 pounds. I really have nothing to do but wait for Miss Justice's information. Klein stood at the end of the street and looked at the haze in the sky, while helplessly muttering to himself. He had already heard last night where he would spend the day. In the morning, I'll practice shooting at the Koala Club, read the newspaper, enjoy a free lunch, take a nap in the afternoon. Life of a bum, by the way. Life of unemployment. Exercise through playing sports like squash. Once the Braveheart bar opens, I'll take a carriage there and see if I can learn about more Beyonder gatherings from Casper's. That's my dream life, by the way. Klein had no intention of looking for Marek, although he was certain that he had more than one circle of Beyonders. He was afraid of Miss Bodyguard would also belong to those circles. Let me change the music, I guess. Sorry, that was disgusting, I'm sorry. I wanna put the Chainsaw Man like OST from the movie, but I can't, man. I'm so sad. Don't start singing, please. Okay, good. It wouldn't be convenient for him to sell potion formulas. It will arouse a high degree of suspicion. Since the true creator has given you the ability to divine and a strong body, will he still grant you potion formulas that you do not need? Exactly. It's impossible just thinking about it. Klein filled in the details with his imagination as he boarded the public carriage that headed for Hillston Borough. Half an hour later, he entered the Guelag Club and saw an acquaintance. It was Talim Tumont. Is it the other guy who recommended you with surgeon? The equestrian teacher who had recommended him to the club. He was Mary Kale's friend. Dressed in a black tweed overcoat, the brown-haired Talim walked over. He sized up Klein and said with an odd smile, "Good morning. Mary and Drago are getting a divorce." That's the first gossip. Respecting the reason why I joined the club, relying on the clown's ability, Klein easily made a surprised expression. Klein went like, you know the thumbnails like that? Really? That's really surprising! Talim gave him a deeply suspicious look and suddenly laughed. I have a friend who's been trouble about something recently. I want to know how good your marksmanship and fighting skills are. A commission? He only asked me about my marksmanship and fighting skills, not reasoning. Is a request involving violence? Klein smiled and said, I was planning on heading to the shooting range. You can take a look, but fighting requires an opponent to be able to see my standard. I have learned how to fight before, Talim eagerly replied. Interesting, new friend? What's up, Yue? How are you doing, Yue? A new friend! It's the exquisite teacher, Talim. Excited. Anyway. Interesting chapter with Audrey. It's confirmed we're going after Lanevus now. That means that in 10 or 20 chapters, we're gonna have the best execution of all time. Lanevus is going down. I can't wait. Next chapter, guys. Reporter. guys? 270. Are we done with volume 2 soon, by the way? Like 2 chapters left. Oh, W. Oh. Was my father? He had very low blood sugar and I didn't realize what's going on. He has diabetes, but everything went fine. Thank you for asking. I had to call the ambulance though. Reporter! Holding onto the revolver that he rented from the Quella Club with one hand, Klein pulled the trigger repeatedly, hitting the bullseye accurately with the worst shot hitting the 8 ring. Ooh. By feeding his practice with live bullets. 8 is like this, the third one from the middle, right? By feeding his practice with the live bullets along with superhuman control that he had after becoming a clown, his marksmanship was considered rather excellent. If I continue practicing for a few months, I could even be considered a sharpshooter. Klein unloaded the revolver in satisfaction and cleared the empty shells. They fell to the ground noisily as he looked at Talim with a smile. Are you satisfied? Very good. The equestrian teacher Talim had already taken off his black tweed overcoat and light grey sweater and adopted a boxing stance. Okay, let's see. Maybe this guy's gonna humble. Music down. Sure. Better? Imagine this guy will humble Klein. Very good. The equestrian teacher Talim had already taken off his black tweed overcoat and light grey sweater and adopted a boxing stance. Come on, let me see what the standard of your fighting skills. I can tell you frankly that I've received training as a trainee knight since I was young, and I've never let it go to waste. As a beyonder, if I can't even beat an ordinary man who has only received the training, then I might as well die. Klein cursed silently. Without taking off his double-breasted coat, he set down his revolver. Klein took 2 side steps and gestured to Talim that they could begin. He originally wanted to wriggle his finger to add to the atmosphere, but when he thought of the other party's strength, he couldn't be bothered to waste his time. What does that mean even? Like, wriggle his finger? Like, come here? Like, attack me? Talim appeared to be a little excited as he began pound stepping a little. He suddenly pressed forward and threw out a punch to the right. Bro went like this. He thinks he's him, by the way. He thinks he is him. Klein blocked and grabbed with his left hand, bent low and twisted his waist before reaching out his right palm and did a smooth backflip. Oh, that guy's surprised, right? Talim flew out, landing on his back. Klein didn't exert any strength towards the end, only throwing him off his feet through the use of inertia. Dude, humbled. Impressive! Talim quickly stood up and gave a thumbs up. As expected of a famous detective, your marksmanship and fighting skills are excellent. Is this guy a Fed, by the way? What's up, Crowish? How are you doing? Talim seems like a Fed, you know? Are you from the MI9? No, he probably not, because he was in this club before and this Mary's friend. This guy wanted to show off, but got humbled by Klein. Even though, like, he's taking it very nicely and he's glazing Klein. I thought maybe it's gonna be like, ugh, you got lucky this time. I only bit a weak chicken like you, so how can you tell me that my fighting skills are very high. Klein secretly lampooned and asked with a smile, "Now that you have a better picture, can you tell me what kind of request your friend has?" "You will come to the club later, you can talk amongst yourselves." Danny massaged his back and said, "As for that, the request exactly entails, I'm not sure either." "Oh, right, he's a reporter at the Daily Observer. Mike Joseph. Okay, you're probably hoping for some short-term protection. Hiring a detective to be your bodyguard is crazy, by the way. We nearly had a bodyguard, what's it called again? Inception. Bodyguard Inception. He's probably hoping for some short-term protection." Alright, Klein didn't ask any more questions. He continued practicing his shooting, but he didn't limit himself to a revolver. He also practiced with a hunting rifle, a shingle. Oh my god, we're gonna use that hunting rifle to fucking kill Lanebus, by the way. Single shot rifle and repeating rifle. He hoped that if he encountered any problems in the future, he will be able to use any of the firearms around him. Smart. Dalim is in his origin, so am I not even more unlikely? Yeah, true. But like the way he approached Klein, and then like, "Oh, can you fight me, bro? My friend has a has a request," and then getting humbled. That was a little bit suspicious of him, you know. Shortly before 12 noon, he returned to the first floor, went into the buffet cafeteria, and got a serving of roast chicken and a piece of pan-fried steak. Ooh, as well as the club's limited supply of cream cheese lobster. Bro said it was free, but honestly, he paid it with the membership, right? But getting pan-fried steak, roast chicken, and cream cheese lobster is actually a massive W, by the way. By the way, did you know, some quick trivia, lobster was actually poor people food back in the, I don't know, like 10s or 20s or 19th century. It was fed to people in the prisons because there were so many lobsters. But when the rich people started to eating it and liked the taste, it went from like lower class food to higher class food. Lobster is really expensive, bro. You don't like seafood because you live in the middle of you live in the middle of, you know, the country. That's why you don't have any sea. Anyway. He came in a hurry, so he hasn't had lunch yet. Dalim Mahales explained for his friend and placed a stack of newspapers on the table. "I can tell." Klein set down his knife and fork, wiped his mouth with a napkin, and sipped his black tea leisurely. He was very satisfied with the meal. At that moment, Mike Joseph came back with 2 plates of food. They took a few quick bites to fill his stomach before looking up at Klein. "Detective Moriarty, have you heard about the recent serial murders?" Ooh, is it about to do that with the woman in the street, by the way? The ones which had organs removed. The ones that had organs removed? Klein's heart skipped a beat as he asked. Dalim nodded and said wistfully, "As expected, every detective is paying attention to this serial killer." Mike pulled out one of the papers and pushed it to Klein. This is the latest story." Klein took it and discovered that it was the Daily Observer where Mike worked at. On the front page were the words, 11. Another lady killed. Sibelius Yard is helpless. I guess it's the same person maybe, right? But basically got a year's worth of 5-star hotel lodging. Your parents always try to feed you a shrimp or crab. Oh, damn. Maybe you're allergic, bro. Anyway, 1 second. Sivello's Yard. Who is that guy? Police chief? The headquarters of the BACKLUND Police Department was located at Sivello Street. Oh, at the edge of Empress Borough, so they were also known as Sibelius Yard. Makes sense. Hello, username? 11. It's already the 11th case. Klein resisted the urge to round and continued reading. All woman, by the way, or what? It was indeed the same as the case he had previously encountered. The victim was a woman dressed in gorgeous long skirt and had her intestines removed from her stomach. Ugh. Devil worship? This is clearly a case with signs of devil worship all over it. The Sibelius Yard must have handed the case to the Nighthawks, mandated punishers of the machinery high mind squads. They have people capable of divination, mediumship, and all sorts of magical and effective yonder methods. How is this the case hasn't been cracked? Why isn't the criminal arrested yet? Does the criminal have rich anti-investigation powers and is able to destroy the souls of the deceased? Or could it be that the deceased soul, along with her innards, were extracted to fulfill the requirement of the devil worship ritual? Yeah, is definitely capable of interfering with divination. Indeed, if the devil pathway beyonders lack such powers, how could they dare commit serial murders? Klein thought, as he said to Mike Joseph, "You want to do a private investigation?" I'm guessing it's a devil pathway serial murderer sequence. Fitting, right? Jack the Ripper, yeah, true. I'm sorry, I can't take this case without the invitation of the police. I cannot take it. I have to maintain a good relationship with them. Yeah, and police fucking hate detectives as well, right? Because sometimes detectives make things more difficult. So-called relationship is the kind where they invite me to the police station for coffee. Klein did some self-critical lampooning. The real reason for his refusal was that it was easy to run into official beyonders involved in the investigations of the serial killings, perhaps including the BACKLUND TOKC Nighthawks. Yeah, because who knows him from BACKLUND, right? I guess Dali is here. Also, what's his name again? Burg. What's his name? Burg. I have them names written down. Something Burg. Oh, Ayur, Borgia, and also, what was the girl's name? I didn't write it down. Anyone remind me the girl name? Who might be lesbian? Guys, apparently I might be autistic. I'm autistic, so I can tell if you're not or if you are. Bornova? No, Bornova is the, isn't Bornova the, son of, Lorotta? Maybe. Isn't Bornova the son of, Roselle? Am I autistic? No. Lord of Kilbis might be, though. Iorotta or Lorotta? Iorotta? Anyway. Self-critical lampooning. The real reason for his refusal? Yeah. No, not an investigation, no. The precise description is that it's not an investigation to seek the murderer. I just want to finish my report. Mike Joseph swallowed some shrimp and explained. Report? Klein put down his white enamel cup, crossed his hands and leisurely asked Mike Joseph. Mike Joseph said, if you buy the Daily Observer tomorrow and the day after, you'll see my in-depth coverage of the serial killings. The most important part is my reveal of what the victims have in common, so as to alert people who fall into this group. Oh, what do they have in common? Klein asked curiously. Beautiful? Woman? Fat? Mike took a sip of coffee and said, besides being a woman and wearing a colorful dress, there's one other important thing to have in common. I did a thorough investigation of the victim's career and found an interesting tidbit. Some of them are maids, others textile workers, tailors, and even teachers. On the surface, there doesn't seem to be any overlap, but in reality, they have all been street girls. Oh, prostitutes? I'm guessing like a former client maybe, who's now on the murder serial killer sequence is going rampant. Street girl, a teacher, Klein asked in surprise. I'm guessing like maybe she grew up really poor, was a street girl for a few years to make money, decided to become a teacher, then was a teacher, right? Seafood in general is overrated. Seafood is the best, bro. Seafood is so fucking good. What's your guys' favorite cuisine, by the way? I think my favorite cuisine is West Asian food, so like Middle Eastern food, then Mexican food, and then I don't know, even Italian. I don't like Italian. I don't like too many carbs. In the corner of Mike's mouth twitched as he sighed and said, yes, in the past they may have had very difficult times before they found a job that could support them. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna talk about these things in the middle of a chapter. I'm gonna get lost. In the Lion Kingdom, teachers were part of the middle class and received at least £2 a week. That was enough to make a woman lead quite a good life, so there was no need for her to be a street girl. Yeah, but maybe before she became a teacher, you know? The corner of Mike's mouth twitched as he sighed and said, in the past, they may have had very difficult times before they found a job that could support them. Exactly. I've done a survey before in Backland. 1 in 6 women aged 15 to 55 or has been a street girl. What? This is our country. Foreigners who come here are surprised that very conservative country, a bustling metropolis, will actually be filled with street girls. Yeah, because men are horny and men want to fuck. This is a late Victoria era, a statistic in London. That's fucking crazy, dude. That's insane. True info. What's up, Shara? How are you doing? Just returned from the hospital? Oh no, what's wrong? So that's like what? 15%? 16% of girls are street girls. Wow, that's a lot. This number is a little exaggerated. If it were true, it could only be said that reality can be more exaggerated than fiction. This damned world. Klein was speechless after some thought he said deliberately. One question, how does a murderer know that the victim has been a street girl? I think it's a former client. They won't have labels on them and they even finished a thorough investigation to discover this. As expected of a great detective, this might be the clue. Mike Joseph answered without feeling surprised. Now, if it was a beyonder from the devil path, then the standard he will choose from would be someone who appears to have sunken low, but didn't actually degenerate completely. Furthermore, they should have keen intuition towards degeneration, and they might be able to see corresponding quote-unquote color that runs deep. With the color for stress as a trigger, targets will be basically locked onto. Klein answered himself and asked, so, what else do you wish to investigate? Mike nodded and said, from these 11 cases, 10 of the ladies were once street girls, except one. She still is a prostitute at present. Yes, she's the youngest, 16-year-old Siper. Oof, rough. This makes it very, very odd. I used to visit Golden Rose, which is her the place where she works for further investigation. I want to see if I can discover anything. How would they, like, how would they, you know... How would they adapt this in the donghua, by the way? I'm glad you're fine, Shara. And you're predicting everything. Ooh, what did I predict even? I'm guessing because we saw that like Klein literally saw a murder happen in the street, right? But it's like, it's farming, maybe it's just farming souls and intestines for rituals, like Klein said, right? But I'm guessing maybe like these souls have some kind of like attribute to them because they were prostitutes. That's why he's targeting prostitutes. I'm worried that my question will anger the people there, so I plan to ask you to protect me temporarily. You don't need to teach them a lesson, and you just need to protect me at the most critical juncture and allow my escape. If nothing happens, I'll pay you £1, and if there's a fight, I'll raise it to £5. What do you think? I mean, free money is free money. God damn. Okay. Klein, I mean, you know, Klein's labor is never free, but you know, it's best now. If there's no fight, you know, there's no sweat. Easy. Klein laughed and replied, let me wash my hands before replying to you. He bowed politely and sauntered over the bathroom where he tossed a coin and obtained a positive answer. Okay, maybe it will escalate something. Maybe the serial killer is gonna have answers for us as well. This is, yeah. Wow, okay, interesting. Mark Joseph, eh? Seems like a nice lad. And Talim seems like a fun guy, dude. So let's go. Next chapter. Why are you lurking, observer? No point trying to deny it, because prior to the child labor laws, teenagers were basically adults, and back then in our history as well. Yeah. I mean, they, like, Girls enter prostitution after puberty, I'm pretty sure, back in the day, right? Like 12 years old or something. It's fucked up. Maybe 15. I don't know. I never looked it up. Why would I know? Okay. Okay, day. Let's continue. It's 19 Hope Street, Sherwood Borough. This area is located close to the Tussock River, which went through Backland. Pedestrians could see the turbid but unusually wide water surface through the cracks and crevices in their houses. The Daily Observer reporter Mike Joseph alighted the carriage and pointed at a 3-story grayish-blue building ahead of them. He said to Klein, who was standing next to him and wearing a black double-breasted frock coat and half-top hat and gold-rimmed glasses. That's the Gold Rose, the best legal brothel in the area of the Backland Bridge, as well as Sherwood Borough. It opens at 3 in the afternoon and stays open until 2 in the morning. Okay, so why are some brothels legal? Are those brothels like paying tax to the government, so that's why they can operate? The best legal brothels in the Sherwood and Backland Bridge regions. In other words, there are better ones in these 2 regions, but they're illegal? Klein silently mused and shot a glance at the entrance, which had inlaid golden rose. It didn't hang any signboards. I guess you just have to have like a permission from the government, and maybe that permission costs money, or you have to pay a tax to the government, and that's why they are illegal brothels as well. This doesn't count as street. It didn't hang any signboards. This doesn't count as a street color, right? He answered quickly without thinking. Of course, it's of a higher grade. Mike personally led Klein to the front of the building and pushed the door open. So this is where the 15-year-old was working? Huh. As soon as he entered, Klein caught a whiff of a mixed fragrance that was slightly pungent as... I guess like out of perfume, and hearing a soothing yet suggesting melody. Instinctively, he looked around and saw bouncers in black coats and half-top hats standing on the other side of the entrance. And in every corner of the hall, as a legitimate business, they were obviously meant to deal with drunkards and boors. What the fuck are boors? Boors? Sounds Swedish. Is boors Swedish? A rough and bad-mannered person.
Boor.
Oh, it's a French word, bro. Bear.
Boor.
It's like boar.
Boor.
Boar etymology. It comes from Low German. It means farmer. Never mind. Wanna born in an era where clankers can do everything for me? No clanker will ever do for you. The only thing clanker will do is make more profits for the big corporations, and you get less money in the future, bro. The Golden Hall was surrounded by all sorts of sofas, chairs, and even a piano. In the center, there was a dancing area. At that moment, there were many ladies sitting in different areas with their hair colored in gold, brown, pale yellow, or black. Some of them looked mature, some shy and young, some young and attractive, and others were rather beautiful. Okay, like some MILFs. Other ladies were either enjoying the melody, giggling while in conversation with each other, quietly reading newspapers and magazines, or dancing with the men. It was only 3:30 in the afternoon, so there weren't many costumers. Because brothel visitors go after work, hard-working men. French is censored. It was only half. Yeah. At a glance, this place looked more like a proper ball than a brothel. If you come after 8 in the evening, you'll see some interesting performances. If any of the ladies catch your eye, go over and invite them to dance and then ask for their price amidst the beautiful melody. If both sides can come to an agreement, you can head to the 2nd or 3rd floor, have a wonderful time in some room. As long as you're willing to spend money. Why is bro hey? You can sleep here the entire night. Mike turned his head from left to right. Speaking from experience, my guy? Suddenly losing his previous calm and gentlemanliness, appearing a little more frivolous. He walked into the hall with a smile, and he approached a young girl, was at most 15 or 16 years old. Oh. Is he showing his true nature, or is this a contact of a professional? Klein watched a little flabbergasted as he subsequently followed behind Mike Joseph. Check his hard drive, holy shit. German is much better, yeah. The victim, Sibber, was only 16 years old. In theory, a girl similar age will likely be a friend and will know more. Okay, sorry I doubted you, Mike. At that moment, Mike lowered his voice and explained. He then raised his thin elbows and asked in normal voice, "Which lady got your fancy?" "I'm just a bodyguard," Klein responded with a very normal logic. Mike slightly nodded and suddenly laughed. "I'm not used to being watched, then I do that sort of thing. I'll be standing watch outside." Klein understood what Mike meant and took a serious professional stance. Without any other word, professional stance? He's standing like this, by the way. You know? Like this. Outside, look. Outside, like. That's a serious bodyguard stance. Without another word, Mike walked to the young girl, bent down, and extended his hand, inviting her to dance. Being a prostitute at this age, BACKLUND sure is bedazzling and dirty. True. To think that there will be middle-aged gentlemen of seemingly good bearing patronizing this place. Even the sides of his hair are white. He lowered his hands and stood very straight, watching Mike and the young girl engage in a slow dance. I mean, I don't even think like middle class. Like, I have seen like 70 years old in brothel, by the way. Or sorry, I haven't seen, I have heard. After a few minutes, Mike walked back and said to Klein with a slight annoyance, "It's too expensive." What? Oh, because he wants to get a room and then talk about Sibber, I guess. Is it like Sibber tea? There was like a Sibber tea as well, right? Is she named after the tea? As the two approached each other, he added a low voice. The girl knew Sibber, but the owner, Ma'am Lopez, forbids them from speaking with anyone else on this matter. Otherwise, they will be severely punished. God, when the punishment was mentioned, the poor girl even shuddered instinctively. I can imagine how horrible it must be. Yeah, so I heard, exactly. Helpless Klein sighed in sympathy and asked in a suppressed voice, "So, what are you planning to do?" "I don't want to cause trouble for those girls again. I plan on going straight to Ma'am Lopez." Mike patted Klein on the shoulder and said, "Protect me." From Ma'am Lopez, Klein turned his body to the side and warned in a serious tone, "If you encounter a dangerous situation, you must listen to me. Do you understand? Listen to me." Okay. Mike raised his hands and to his shoulders and nodded. As he spoke, he walked toward a single sofa in the corner. There was a charming lady with thick makeup in a gorgeous dress seated there. "If you don't want to give up after a dance and then embarrass yourself in front of those girls, I suggest you talk to Ma'am Lopez first and find out the prices of different girls." Mike raised his voice. Oh, that was Mike, sorry. The lady heard their conversation and looked over. She slowly got up and smiled. "Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm Lopez. Did any girls catch your fancy?" "Yeah." Mike suddenly sized her up and said with a chuckle, "I really admire you." Oh my god, Reese. Freudian slip? No. "Admire you too. You're acting like this is your home." Klein's mouth twitched. Bro has definitely been here before, by the way. I swear to God. "Okay, for myself. Bye-bye." Lopez's expression froze for a second. "Thank you for coming, by the way." Then she gave a fake laugh and said, "Sorry, I'm not feeling well today. You should know that there are times every month where women feel quite under the weather." Oh, period? Seeing that there was no way to get Lopez into the room for a conversation, Mike fell silent for a few seconds before suddenly turning serious. I mean, Big Mike has been here like many times probably. "Ma'am, Lopez, I'm a reporter. I wish to understand more about Sibber's matter. Here's my documentary proof." Lopez's face darkened and she replied impatiently, "I have already told you everything. I know the police. You should ask them." Sibber was a vagrant orphan who was adopted by me. That night she accepted an invitation from a quest to spend the night at his house, and she died on her way back in the morning. Ooh, I think the person who went to the house had nothing to do with that. Sorry, the person who invited her to his house had nothing to do with that, I'm pretty sure. It was just a coincidence? Alright, please leave. Or Alright, please leave or invite a lady to dance. As she spoke, Lopez waved over 2 of her pouncers. Come on, go dance, Mark. Get your money's worth. Throughout the game here so far. Klein stepped in the shield of Mike Joseph and escorted him back to the hall. Upon seeing this, the 2 pouncers didn't rashly chase him away. After a few steps, Klein said in a low voice, "She's lying." Oh? Mike turned his head in surprise. When she spoke, her eyes started around. She didn't dare to look at you directly, but she was also secretly sizing you up, which means she was lying and watching your reaction. Oh! She's hiding something, bro. She is hiding something. Okay, let's see. Additionally, her stance was highly defensive and she appeared very agitated, Klein gave his analysis. I don't think this girl or this woman is directly involved with the murder of Sieber, but I do think like she has some kind of like skeletons in the closet where police start to investigate. They're gonna find out maybe like tax fraud, or she is fiddling minors, which means it's like the Epstein house. Mike opened his mouth and exclaimed after a few seconds, "You really are a great detective. Only with your keen observation and outstanding deduction skills were you able to discover such a useful detail," Klein claims. That's only because yeah, W Spectator Klein, exactly, dude. That's only because I had my spirit vision on and could see that Lopez's emotional and colors weren't right. I came up with the reason after. Klein smiled and said, "Thank you, it's time for us to go." Mike Joseph looked back at Lopez and saw that she was walking toward the side door of the hall as though she was going to her own lounge. And the side door was in a corner of the room. It was very quiet around there and there were many areas in the hall that couldn't see what was going on inside. There were also 2 pouncers standing guard outside. What's in that room, bro? I don't think there's minors in the Lord of Mysteries. What are you? There are minors. I have seen... Wait, have you seen children? I mean, Ian, first of all, is like, what, 14? Who else? Yeah, there are minors. Come on. Maybe minors are inside all the minors are inside the lounge or something. Like the existence of the word minor, I see. Maybe they have like law, like because it's a legal brothel, the youngest must be like 15, right? She's hiding something, bro. She's hiding something. Perhaps you will follow Ma'am Lopez and observe her reaction. Maybe the anxiety from just now will make her do something. Mike silently turned his head and looked at Klein. "Couldn't you take care of those 2 pouncers quickly?" Wink, wink. "Sir, I'm only responsible for your protection. That's against the law." Klein smiled in response. Yeah, Klein, the law-abiding citizen. Actually, it's illegal. It's illegal. You can't do that. It's illegal. She's hiding the files. Oh, if she's finding the files, it will never be uncovered, by the way. Derek is 14. Yeah, exactly. I'll pay you more, a total of £5 based on the combat price from before. If there's another fight when we're on, I will pay £10. Oh, now you're talking. Mike Joseph gritted his teeth. Deal! Klein reached out his hand and shook his hand. What a greedy man, bro. Okay. Klein just was like, "It's against the law. I can't do that. The law says otherwise." And then reached £10. Okay. Here we go. Lopez's expression froze for a second, then she gave a fake laugh and said, "Sorry." Wait, what? What the frick? Here. I don't know why it just... Well, sometimes it skipped twice, by the way, without me noticing. Afterward, the 2 of them circled around to avoid the 2 pouncers on before and quietly approached the side door. "Guests, please stop. Please leave this area." One of the pouncers stepped... "Guys, guests, please stop. Please leave this area." One of the pouncers stepped forward and stopped Klein and Mike Joseph. "Sorry," Will immediately. Klein bowed politely and apologized. At that moment, his right fist suddenly punched out heavily, striking the pouncer's abdomen in front of him. Bro did a fakie! Oh my god, bro did a fakie! Bro went like... like that. Like he bowed. That guy did not see it coming, bro. Must have been the wind. At that moment, his right fist suddenly punched out heavily, striking at the bouncer's abdomen in front of him. The bouncer instinctively clutched his stomach. His body bent over. As for Klein, who had now stood up, he raised his left hand and chopped the bouncer on the back of his head. Bro went like this. Also, that's illegal, Klein. I thought that was illegal. The bouncer, Pow! The bouncer fell to the ground and fainted. His companion was clearly caught by surprise at this turn of events. He just stared blankly and failed to react in time. Klein immediately slid over and covered the bouncer's mouth with his right hand and punched his abdomen with his left fist. Pam! The bouncer suddenly bent down and spat out his undigested food, and Klein promptly withdrew his right hand and chopped downward with his palm. Bro, just knocked him out like that. Wow! What if it's illegal? You don't get the joke, Gilby? Klein said that earlier. Klein was like, it's illegal. That bow, by the way, was just aura farming. I'm just saying. Just aura farming. The bouncer suddenly bent down. Yep. At the same time, his left hand supported his opponent, allowing the bouncer to slowly fall onto the ground without making a sound. Whoa. After exchanging looks, Klein turned the knob, pushed open the side door and stepped inside. Mike Joseph lowered his body and quickly followed. Why are you so skilled? You're just a reporter. Klein pulled under his breath, walking briskly out at a rapid pace along the paved corridor. Funny. Shouldn't this say... Why is Klein saying to lower this body and quickly follow? Is that skillful? I don't get it. Or is he just mocking Joseph because Klein knocked both of them out? Klein pulled under his breath, walking briskly out of rapid pace along the paved corridor. Might be legal, but 10 pounds is 10 pounds. My brother, exactly. $5 is $5 if you know what I mean, right? Suddenly they heard Lopez's voice. Tell Cap, send anyone over the next few days. Cap him, send anyone. Klein looked at Mike and found him looking equally puzzled. Oh, there we go. We're gonna find out that Lopez is fiddling with minors. At that moment they heard Lopez's footsteps that were headed towards the corridor. Let's go, Klein talked Mike and ran for the exit without turning back. During this process, he closed the side door and broke the lock in passing. It could prevent the people inside from coming out for a while. Then, as if nothing had happened, they hurriedly walked through the hall and approached the exit while hearing faint, angry noises. After reaching the streets, Mike heaved a sigh of relief and said in amazement and sincerity, I experienced many similar scenarios, but not once was so simple and relaxed as it was today. Thank you. I need to return to find out who Capim is. Capim. It low-key sounds like an acronym. Like Carter? No. Captain Immortal. Captain I don't know. Maybe it's a full name. Let me copy this. Probably some serial rapist or someone. As he spoke, he took out his wallet, fished out a £5 note, and muttered, but frankly, your price is really expensive. It's more than half a week's salary. You said £10! Captain Immortal, that's kinda cold, by the way. You promised, bro! But you can claim for reimbursement, right? Klein answered with a grin. Following that, he asked in concern, aren't you afraid that Lopez will find your newspaper firm and get the police to arrest you? That's a fake ID card. Mike Joseph shrugged with a gesture of familiarity. Klein could admire him. Klein could only admire him. Yeah, he is skilled, by the way. After watching Mike board the carriage and leave, he walked diagonally across the street, waited for a public carriage, and kept an eye out for anyone chasing after him. At that moment, a rental carriage slowly approached and stopped in front of him. I'm guessing Capim, by the way, if that is his real name. I think Capim is like the Gigalo, or not Gigalo, sorry, the the higher up of Lopez, like who owns multiple brothels, maybe, and maybe he has something to do with Sibir's death, and maybe he let Sibir get killed. Maybe that devil. Beyonder on the serial killer pathway or sequence, bait, cap him for one of those girls, and cap him, just let it happen. That also might be the case, right? Pimp, exactly, pimp. Yeah, the word I was saying is pimp. After watching Mike, yep. For public carriage, he kept an eye out for anyone chasing after him. At that moment, a rental carriage slowly approached and stopped in front of him. A middle-aged man in a black coat stepped out of the carriage and nodded at Klein. He had blue eyes. A customer for the brothel. Okay. Old man, by the way. A middle-aged man. He had a blue eyes, thin face, and grey temples. The same old gentleman that Klein had seen in the Golden Rose. He's not a customer to Golden Rose, he's just like us. Klein suddenly came to his realization. Oh, another detective. How many people? Hello, I'm Detective Isengard Stanton. I'm assisting the police in this case. Can we have a chat? The middle-aged man pointed at the carriage tracks. Is he? Maybe he's capping. Maybe he's like hired by the brothel to like pretend to be a detective. Huh. Let's see. Might be a double agent. Observing each other. Let's jump into it. Isengard. Isn't that like a... Isn't Isengard like a thing in Norse mythology? Or am I tripping? Oh. It's from Tolkien. I see. Is he the this is the detective that what was his name? Audrey hired, right? Or am I not where is my notes? 1 second. Let me check if I actually pasted them. Where is my... What the frick? No, I don't have it. Frick. Let's keep remembering then. Let's keep reading then, I mean. Detective, a colleague. However, the fact that he's able to assist the police in dealing with that, maybe if it is the same detective that Audrey hired, then he's not hired by the brothel. Detective, a colleague. However, the fact that he's able to assist the police in dealing with such a serious case shows that he's truly a well-known detective, at least within Civilus Yard. Isn't the serial killer involved in devil worship supposed to be handed over to the Nighthawks, Managed Punishers, or the Machinery High Mind? All the police department needs to do is send a few assistants, so why would they need to seek the help of a private detective? Yeah, maybe something is not adding up. Yes, the 11 the 11 serial murders must have caused a sensation. Civilus Yard is under a lot of pressure, and they aren't willing to just wait in misery. Many thoughts flashed through Klein's mind, but on the surface he revealed a smile. Alright. Oh, because acting as a clown. Reported it was Vors and Shio. Yeah, okay. Not Audrey. So it is him. Yeah, true. He boarded Isengard Staten's rented carriage and saw a young man with a brown hair inside. This is my assistant, Isengard, who had thin and angular face introduced. Please have a seat. A young man, okay. Brown hair, okay. He didn't close the carriage door, nor did he let the carriage driver drive the horse forward to show that he meant no harm. But Klein deliberately sat down uneasily and asked worriedly, "What would you like to talk about, Mr. Shanton?" Isengard took out a dark pipe and said, "I want to know what you learned from following Ma'am Lopez. Did you hear or discover anything? I'm also a detective, and you should know that we have confidentiality agreements in this business." Klein deliberately replied as though he was in a dilemma. "I'm asking you on behalf of Civilus Yard. This has nothing to do with confidentiality agreement." Isengard rubbed his pipe with his thumb. "A pound? How about 2 pounds? Ooh, we love corruption. Deal! Because, you know, Klein loves money." Having learned a lesson from the previous incident with Mirasol, together with the fact that there was no need to keep it a secret, Klein replied without hesitation. "Sure. Yeah, sure, that's the reason, Klein. Not because you like the money, come on." $250 roonies? That's crazy. Alright, Isengard smiled and took out 2 1-pound notes from his pocket. 2 stones! Easy. Klein acted as though he was. Do you know what Klein should do? We talked about this, but my memory is a little hazy. And then Isengard is like, 2 more pounds? And then 2 more spirit stones. 4 pounds in total. Come on, Klein. Klein acted as though he was still recalling something before frankly saying, he only heard one sentence. Ma'am Lopez attempted to order her subordinates to tell Cap him that it is not to send anyone over in the next few days. Cap him? Isengard nodded, seeming enlightened. Cut it. You know Cap him? Klein didn't hide his surprise. Isengard handed the notes over and said with a faint smile, one of the most controversial magnates in the Sherwood Borough. What is a magnet? With hella money. Ooh. Never enough, by the way. Magnet. A wealthy individual. Oh, businessman. Magnate. Any bets that it's French? From Latin. Oh, I see. From Magnus. Great. So it comes from Magnus, magnate. Or magnate. I'm guessing it's like a business tycoon who manages brothels and stuff and takes a cut. Like a pimp, you know? Is Epstein. It's basically Epstein. In Sherwood Borough, in Backland, innocent girls would often go missing along deserted street, and after a long time they might be chanceable in all sorts of legal and illegal brothels. A lot of rumors point to Capim as the criminal honcho, filled with blood and filth on his hands, but due to lack of evidence, he remains free to the state. Furthermore, he knows a lot of important people. If that's true, but then this fellow should die 1,000 times over. Exactly. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. This is like Jeff, exactly. Like a business magnate? Yeah. Chef Capim, exactly. What's up, Aaron, by the way? How are you doing? Who's worse? No, do not ask, bro. No, I don't want to see what he says. I don't know who Jeff from Marvel Rivals is. If that's true, then his fellow should die 1,000 times over. Exactly. Klein nodded aside and said, "This is Loan, this is Backland, Mr. Staten. I shall bid you farewell." I hate people who use, like, basically groom women and children into prostitution and then take a cut from it as well. Basically, what I think says, let's say you go to a brothel, you pay like, what, 2 pounds? Probably 1.5 pounds goes to the brothel. 1 pound goes to Capim, Jeffrey Capim. You know, Ma'am Lopez takes a cut. Some of it goes to your taxes, and you're left like 2 solly after that. Thank you for your cooperation. Isengard got up midway as a polite gesture to send him off. How did the reporter not know about Capim, by the way? I'm curious, because isn't he like a huge business tycoon that has shady businesses? Surely a reporter should know about such a controversial figure. Did you know it, but it just didn't explain to Klein? Isn't Jeff in the stream chat? This is just Baby Shark. Isn't this just Kura or whatever her name is? The VTuber? Anyway. By the way, your fighting skills are excellent. Maybe... how do you know? Oh, because he was in the brothel. Okay. Your fighting skills are excellent. Maybe we'll have a chance to work together in the future. How should I dress you? Sherlock Moriarty, Klein answered briefly and got off the carriage. Only when he boarded a newly arrived tracked carriage did Isengard state and instruct his assistant to close the door, ordered the carriage driver to head towards Hillston Borough. Turning his head to the side, he looked out the window. The grey-haired elderly gentleman had put away his dark pipe, pulled out a brass ornament from his pocket, slowly stroking it in his hand. is he a beyonder? The brass ornament was pocket-sized open book with a vertical eye in the center. The appearance and get-up of Mr. Moriarty just now were a bit out of place. He wore very cultured, gold-rimmed glasses, but he had deliberately grown a beard around his mouth, making him look crude and barbaric. It is not quite in line with the norm. Is this guy a fucking spectator, guys? In this day and age, people who wear gold-rimmed glasses tend to care a lot about their image. It's just a clown. It's just a clown. The image of having knowledge and bearing, maybe he's trying to hide something. I mean, Klein's looked backfired. He looked too suspicious, bro. Maybe he's just a very good detective, right? Of course, it's also possible that he's a gentleman with an unusual aesthetic sense. Yeah, clown. Isengard seemed to be talking to himself, but he also seemed to be teaching his assistant. True. I think this guy is just very smart, right? At that moment, Klein, who was sitting on the carriage, mumbled to himself silently as he leaned against the wall. Detective Isengard's sin is problematic. Ever since I activated my spirit vision, he had a blue color of rational thought and indifference and maintained a purple color of spirituality dominance. There weren't many other colors of emotion appearing. For normal people, unless they overwhelmingly focused on studying a difficult problem, it's very difficult to maintain similar states for extended periods of time. Other emotions will inevitably appear, the difference being the issue of how long they can remain in that state. Yes, either Detective Isengard Santor is one such genius at observation and reasoning with extraordinary talent, or he's a beyonder. Dun dun dun! I think it might go like both ways, by the way. I think it might go both ways, right? Like, I think he might be a genius detective, or he's a beyonder. But if he's a beyonder, it's probably like sequence 9 spectator. Question, guys. Can you guys type something in chat? Because I think the chat on the stream is everyone color is yellow, and it's not supposed to be everyone's color. So can you please type so I can fix it maybe? Okay, it was just a coincidence. I see. It was just a coincidence. Anyway, let's continue. The Drax public carriage had 2 floors as it ferried more than 40 passengers towards the BACKLUND bridge area. Klein gradually trained in his thoughts and cast his gaze out the window and admired the 2 to 3 story buildings on the other side of the road. Occasionally he could see brown houses 5 or 6 stories high, a sign of BACKLUND's latest trend and of the kingdom's most advanced construction technology. Damn, that's pretty tall already. It was a C word. Why did that get censored? How do you even fix this? What do you mean? Thank you for typing, guys. I think it's better now. After a transfer, Klein arrived at Iron Gate Street and got off. Am I recording? Thank God I am. And got off the carriage opposite of Brayhart's bar, as if it wasn't the peak period at the bar yet. The moment he entered, he saw Casper's thinking at the bar. Old alcoholic, by the way. Always alcoholic. The old man with the brandy nose had requested for a glass of Langsky Proof. His eyes narrowed in satisfaction as he savored the fragrance of the malt and burning sensation in his throat. Klein moved closer, rapped the counter, and asked with a smile, "Is Marek here?" At the same time, he had one hand in his pocket as he gripped Asik's copper whistle, using his speciality to shield its negative effects. Before he finishes his sentence, he felt cases sweep past him. It's evident that they were observing him. By the time he finished asking the question, the cases moved away from him and focused on Casper's. Oh, is Marek spying on him? The old man with the huge scar on his face opened his eyes, and when he saw that it was Klein, he said in a bad mood, He didn't come yesterday either. He didn't come? Why'd you say it like that, bro? He didn't come. Man let out a breath of relief, no longer using his spirituality to wrap Ozzy's copper whistle. When I mentioned Marek, someone looked at me. When they heard that I was asking him for his whereabouts, the gaze shifted again. Ooh, someone is also looking for Marek. The bodyguard, maybe? Sup, Stammer? Klein resisted the urge to turn around and observe as he analyzed the abnormality. Combined with an original doubt of his, he felt that the question now had general answer to it. I think it might be the bodyguard that, Klein hired. because obviously you cannot see her when she's like, you know, I like to say spirit walking, right? Combined with an original doubt of his, he felt that question now had a general answer to it. I was puzzled. Last week, why would a Sequence 5 Miss Bodyguard accept a 3-day protection mission for £1,000? Because £1,000 is like $200,000. Isn't? I have a phone call. Okay, 1 second. My dad is calling me. I'm back, guys. Hello, Pete. How are you doing? You missed the brothel scene, my guy. A 3-day protection mission for £1,000 isn't to say that the price is too low, but rather than that, someone of that level already counts as a powerful person. In search of the goddess, she is qualified to be a Nighthawk Deacon or a Theokis Bishop. If she can gain the favor of a holy artifact, she can compete for the position of an Archbishop or a high-ranking Deacon. I think that's because the bodyguard is on an unconventional pathway. That no churches of that pathway exist in Lower Kingdom. I think that's like a pretty rational like conclusion why the bodyguard is not in like a position of power and likes to like do odd jobs, right? No matter which point of view. Among the various secret organizations and intelligence agencies, Sequence 5 also implies that the person will be the person in charge of a borough, or at least a number 2 or 3. Even if you're a Beyonder who isn't part of any organization, a person with such strength won't be able to establish a small organization of their own. No matter which point of view it was from, Miss Bodyguard could enjoy tributes from her subordinates, so there was no need for her personally to quote-unquote take the job. I understand that, Klein, but you have to understand every person is different. Maybe she doesn't like having a lot of people around her, like she's shy or like a lone wolf, you know? And I'm guessing also she maybe, you know, like I said, like doesn't like to, right? Maybe she doesn't care that much about like getting tributes from her subordinates and stuff like that. Like she will let her go alone. At the time, I thought that I had most likely hired a Sequence 6 security guard who will be able to last a little longer against the experts sent by BACKLUND, getting a chance for me, but who knew that Miss Bodyguard will be so terrifyingly strong. Lone Sigma. Welcome back, Kilby. Judging from today's events, Miss Bodyguard and Marek are probably similar to me. Their identities are sensitive and they have to hide away. Yes, the situation might even worse, and they have to constantly worry about being hunted down. To be able to hunt Miss Bodyguard, even if that organization doesn't have any high Sequence Beyonders, they must have some holy artifacts or multiple Sequence 5 members. Of course, it's just my hunch. Perhaps it has to do with exposure of Marek as a Beyonder, and he's now targeted by the Machinery Hive Mind Squad. After some thought, Klein said with a regret, "Is that so? I was planning on playing cards with him." Upon hearing something that didn't match Klein's usual manner of speech, Kaspars was alarmed. Acting sus, he didn't look around either, but chortled and said, "I'll be having a card game tonight, Texas. Do you wanna join in? Oh, poker." Translation error on Marek's name, so it was Mary. Oh, Mary. No, I just want to play till dinner. Ugh, I think I just head home. Klein sighed and left the Braveheart's bar without even ordering anything to drink. He had intended to ask Kaspars about other Beyonder gatherings, but in that situation, he carefully abandoned the idea. Yeah, because for some reason, Kaspars was in such a shitty mood, you know? In fact, he could have gone to a card room or some relatively sealed area to walk with Kaspars, but just to be safe, he decided to wait until next time. Klein was in no hurry to return home. Instead, he went to the one-bedroom apartment he rented in his borough and started divining about the grey fog to confirm that no one was following him. Smart, very cautious. After easing his mind, he reached Main Street before it was completely dark and found all sorts of subscribed newspapers crammed into his mailbox. Oh, I was in a hurry to leave today, so I didn't even have time to read it. At the Kuala Club, I had a good meal after shooting practice and took a nap before being forced to play a few tennis matches with Talim. What a hard day. What a hard life, Klein. You were forced to eat steak and lobster and have fun and play tennis. Ugh. My skills aren't good enough, but my physical fitness can make up for that. He mumbled silently as he opened the door and went inside before twisting the cast lock. He brought he brought the newspaper into the living room and sat on the sofa. He lit the wall lamp and started reading. Klein first read through the BACKLUND Morning Post and immediately flipped to the 5th page and saw an advertisement. It was an advertisement for the Ernst firm purchase of goods. Oh! Beyond their meeting. Speed GIF? Is there a GIF? I can't see it. It's the Beyond their meeting. The prices were 7 pence a litre of flour, 1 solly of butter, 6 pence per pound of lard, 1 solly, 3 pence per pound of cream, 8 solly per pound of Marquise black tea. Anyway, this is the code. In other words, there will be a Beyonder gathering in the same place date in the evening. The code door is knock 7 times heavily, 1 time lightly, 6 long intervals and 1 short interval in that order. The remaining 3 and 8 are meaningless. Klein interpreted the content, leaned back against the sofa and began to look forward to the gathering tomorrow evening. He wanted to sell some formulas to see if he could buy the corresponding ingredients of items. Let's fucking go. Oh no, my field is too plentiful and my harvest too bountiful. Oh, that's a legendary quote, by the way. Handing out a formula. Are you gonna get paid for that, Klein? Another Beyonder meeting. Now I have, I'm actually so excited to look forward to Tarot Club meeting and this, like, Tarot Club meeting from demo. You know what I mean? But at least it's something. What's up, Enner? How are you doing? Demo club meaning exactly. Steak is greasy. Lobster is buttery. True. Handing out the formula. Wednesday night, 5 minutes to 8 in an alley behind Braveheart's bar. Ooh, it's happening right now. Klein circled around for a while based on his memories before finally finding the house with the dark candlelights. He was disguised today in grayish blue worker's uniform. Gap and beard so that no one could connect him to the guy who had tricked his luck by buying black snake item. I see. I mean, what about your voice, little bro? I'm guessing he can change his voice just like, you know, he changes the fool. Will be best if Eye of Wisdom and the Apothecary don't recognize me, otherwise a newbie who had relied on luck to become Beyonder and was able to come up with several potions after a week would definitely be suspicious. Klein put his hands in his pockets and felt for Ozzy's copper whistle, the ordinary tarot cards and the charms he had replenished. His uniform was specially modified by a tailor. There were many small pockets with metal bottles filled with herbs, powder and extract essences, pretending to be a apothecary maybe, or like a guy who sells potions. After taking a deep breath and slowly exhaling, Klein took the metal mask that could only cover half his face and finished the first step to his disguise. Following that, he used the clown's ability to control his facial expression and his physical tics, as well as his gait. What? Well as his gait. While what is a gait? Gait. Bet said it comes from French, by the way. A manner of walking.
Gate.
Gait.
Gate.
Gait. Etymology. Oh, actually late Middle English. Wait, might be bait. Might be bait. Okay. From Middle English, from Old Norse, from Proto-Germanic. Okay, it's from Norse. I see. Gate. Images of gate. Okay, sure. Huh. Matter of walking. You know how I walk? Do you know how I walk? I walk like this. Wait for it. I walk like this, guys. This is my gait. Like a boss. Anyway. As well as his gait while numbing his facial nerves, he wanted to be vastly different from his previous self. However, I'm not sure what eye of wisdom relies on to recognize people. This is all I can do. Ugh. If only I was already a faceless, but if that's the case, I will need to join such low-level Beyonder gatherings. Heinz stood outside the door in silence for a few seconds. He then raised his right hand and knocked on the door. 7 hard knocks and 1 light one, with 6 long pauses and 1 short pause in between. Almost without fading, the small wooden board on the door was silently pulled open, and I appeared behind it. It examined the visitor from head to toe. 2 or 3 seconds later, the door cracked open, and Eye of Wisdom attendant handed a hooded black robe to Klein. Klein maintained his emotionless state as he quickly put on the robe and pulled down his hood, letting the shadows cover his face. On the way to the living room, he deliberately took a steps he wasn't used to and tried, oh my god, give this guy an Oscar, man. What's up, Alma? How are you doing? And tried his hardest to eliminate the awkwardness. There was only 1 candle in the dark and he's trying too hard. I think Klein is trying too hard. There was only 1 candle in a dark and silent room and quite a number of members at the gathering. Klein didn't choose a corner like the previous time. Instead, he sat on a high stool right in the center. In short, he wanted everything about his external appearance and behavior to be completely different from the previous 2 times. It was precisely due to his identity as a clown that gave him the domain of expertise, allowing him to reflect his own body into his mind and gain fundamental control over it. The living room was so silent that it appeared frozen. Time passed by, and finally Eye of Wisdom looked at the clock on the wall and said his ancient voice, "It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! Let's begin! We don't need to wait for our late friends." As he finished the sentence, Klein immediately said with a hoarse voice, I want to sell potion formulas. They are Sequence 9 Bard and Sequence 8 Light Supplies from the Church of Eternal Blazing Sun. The former is 220 pounds, the other is 450 pounds. It was the most suitable plan that he could come up with after much consideration. Spectre and the telepathy potions were related to the psychology alchemist, as synchronization was still active in Backland in the Lower Kingdom. If he recklessly produced them, he might attract their attention. And the Church of Eternal Blazing Sun was blocked out by the Church of Storms, and so the corresponding Beyonders rarely appeared in Backland and could do very little. Therefore, it was an extremely safe choice. Okay, smart. This portion of the Seer Pathway involved Klein himself, and they certainly didn't want to reveal his characteristics. After having experienced so many battles and watched so many battles with Beyonders, he gradually came to understanding something. It was below the high sequences. Beyonders of different pathways had their own characteristics which didn't overlap. That was to say, each of them had their own strengths and weaknesses, and their strengths and weaknesses were very obvious. The strengths were indeed strong, and the weaknesses were indeed weak. For example, the Spectre pathway lacked the ability to fight in actual combat, but if they were ignored and were unconsciously misled, then no matter how strong an opponent's combat skills were, it was possible for them to die without knowing why. Exactly! Master plan like a trap! Vice Admiral Chilangos, who clearly possessed a mystical item, Creeping Hunger, and had an overall combat strength of a Sequence 5, but he still died in a rather inexplainable manner. Most of this was thanks to Isaac, but one could dismiss the role of the Spectator. Exactly. Audrey Coat. The fact that the majority of the Beyonder jobs below the highest sequence had distinct characteristics and obvious weaknesses with weak bodies. If one could conceal one's strengths and understand the situation of their enemies beforehand, it wasn't impossible for them to defeat someone stronger. In extreme cases, there was still a very small chance of Sequence 9 killing a Sequence 5. Yeah, if the Sequence 5 is absolute fraud, maybe. Rosago. Even though Rosago Rosago was killed by the Foulness charm, and the bodyguard was battling him as well. Of course, this was perfect hypothesis, but in reality, it was almost impossible. Sequence 5 was already considered strong, and the corresponding beyonder powers could be considered miraculous. Strengths could effectively cover up weaknesses, but before reaching Sequence 6, it was very difficult to cause any effect on them. On the other hand, many of the beyonder below high sequences were very afraid of being attacked by Krupp, even if their opponents were all below their own sequence. This was because once one became flustered, their attempts to avoid a fault would lead to failure of another. Their weaknesses could lead to fatal outcomes. Oh, wait. I forgot. I wanna write down a theory, guys. I forgot earlier about Copium. Uh, 41. Copium is beyonder tycoon mafia boss, basically a pimp. He's sold off Cyber to be murdered. Capim, not Copim. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Captain Immortal. Anyway, I added check marks for theories that I got correct. I added X's for theories that was wrong, by the way. And then if there's nothing behind it, it's empty. Copium, yeah. Copium. On the other hand, many of the beyonders below high sequences were very afraid of being attacked by a group. Even if their opponents were all below their own sequence, this was because once one became flustered, their attempts to avoid a fault lead to a failure of another. Their weakness could lead to fatal outcomes. These problems were why shepherds were ranked first below high sequences. They were so all around it that if they combined and matched their beyonder powers well enough, they would almost have zero shortcomings. Yeah, shepherds will get nerfed, by the way. After I advance to sequence 7, I'll have sorts of magical beyonder powers. Then even if I encounter a sequence 6, I'll be able to contend against them for a while, and I might even be able to win. If I encounter sequence 5, there might be still a chance of escaping. As these thoughts raced, Klein looked around and waiting for someone to speak. I mean, yeah, true, but if you have like the Charm of Foulness or whatever, or some like very broken artifacts, you can win pretty easily, right? So what happened to the gameplay, by the way? What happened to the gameplay? Master said yesterday that there's a new gameplay trailer today. I woke up, I was excited to react to it, and then nothing. Did Lord of Mysteries lie to us, by the way? And if Bard and Light Supplant can be solved, then I can only go for second best and consider selling Spectator and Telepathist. In consideration or beyonder characteristics, indestructibility and conservation, the formula of my own pathway definitely shouldn't be solved. Yeah, exactly. The witch pathway won't be as well, for it will lead to many tragic cases. Whether it's instigator or witch, they're the type that necessitates committing evil deeds. Mine was a little nervous, but his face remained expressionless as he waited. Actually, I can consider buying it. At the moment, a chubby apothecary laughed. I can also accept another apprentice and give him those 2 formulas, making him specialize in praying for light to shine on my herbs. Perfect, how extravagant. His words broke the momentary silence in the room. A man in the corner who had his hood pulled very low spoke in deliberately sharp voice. Perhaps I can give it to my child. At least it's stronger than my sequence. Sequence 9, 200 pounds. Sequence 8, 400 pounds. If you agree, we have a deal. To be able to take out 600 pounds at one go means quite rich. Is it claimed maybe that's enough to buy a house in Tingen? Van pretended to think, looked at the other members at the gathering and observed their reactions. Noticing that no one had the urge to raise the price and that the other party's bid had reached the bottom line, Klein thought for a while and said, I'll tag on additional requests. You cannot sell those 2 formulas in this gathering, but you are free to do as you wish elsewhere. Isn't it like kind of isn't this a good money maker, by the way? You like go to a different city, buy like sequence 9, I don't know, sheriff or whatever, not sequence 9 sheriff, sorry, sequence 9 arbiter, and then to start selling it to like 10 different people. It's like infinite money glitch, right? He Klein pretended to think, looked at the other members at the gathering and observed the reactions. Spectre, noticing that no one had the urge to raise the price and that other party bid, yep. The man said sharply, alright, Mr. Eye of Wisdom will bear witness. Klein didn't know how to prove that the formula slow demand, yeah, true, as was real, but he didn't want to ask if it would expose the fact that he hadn't participated in many gatherings. Therefore, he silently pulled up his robe and took out the two potion formulas he had written long ago and handed it to a attendant beside him. The attendant didn't walk to the corner. Instead, he went to the single sofa in the center and handed the folded paper over to the Eye of Wisdom. Oh, why? To check it, just in case, double check it, like app pricer, right? So why are they stalling with the gameplay, by the way? The old gentleman spread out paper and without taking any extra look, it placed on a small round table beside him. Then he took out a handkerchief and wiped his right palm. From his pocket, he took out a ring inlaid with many tiny diamonds. Song stop, by the way. Are they blue balling us, by the way? Are they edging us? Is are all the Mysteries devs edging us? From his pocket, he took out a ring inlaid with many tiny diamonds. This ring was complicated and exquisite in design. In the middle of the ring was a dark green gem that looked like an eye. Is this a Beyonder artifact, maybe? Just by looking at it from distance, Klein felt his head swell and his body turn uncomfortable. It was just like black when he was taking his math examination. Oh, back. Eye of Wisdom solemnly wore the ring on his right middle finger and then closed his eyes as if he was preparing something. Suddenly, the emerald green gem on the ring bloomed with a resplendent golden color which was bright as the sun. Eye of Wisdom quickly extended his right hand and let the gem touch the potion formula written by Klein. The rays of golden light began purer until they eventually turned into holographic projection. So I think he's like checking if it's real, right? Is he using a Beyonder ingredient or is he like doing some kind of savant pathway divination? Or maybe it's a device he built by himself, but how can you fact check something if you don't know something? You know what I mean? It's Sweetie. Why did they call it guys Sweetie? I'm sorry. Guys, I think it's like a fact checking ring. Right? You know? Authentic and effective, Eye of Wisdom announced in a low voice. He immediately removed the ring from his finger, not daring to wear it for another second. Stone sounds just like a notary. That ring is the most prized item in Mr. Eye's Wisdom collection. Ah, see that effect 2081? Simulates the powers of a notary. Klein watched on thoughtfully, feeling a little covetous. Covetous. What does covetous mean, guys?
Covetous.
Covetous. Bet it is French. Why is it never French? When I say it's French, it comes from Latin, cupitus. Oh, from Old French. Yeah, it is from Old French. Feeling a little covetous. After the notarization, quote-unquote notarization, which is kind of like a lawyer, so that's why I think savant and lawyer pathway are interchangeable. Did I write that down, by the way? Savant. Did I write that down? No, I didn't. Okay. 42. Savant and lawyer pathway are interchangeable. Yeah, Alma, I probably will. I'm back. Instead, he helped them in palm in his hand. Yeah. Where am I? Oh, after the notarization, the deal was quickly concluded and Klein received a thick wad of cash, all in 10-pound notes. Wow, we got how much do we got? We got 400, no, we got 600 spirit stones. After counting the pills 3 times, it didn't fold and put them in his pocket. Instead, he held them in the palm of his hand and waited for an opportunity to spend them. Oh my god. For a weapon. He's looking for a weapon, remember? He planned on observing the moment to ensure that there were nothing he needed before speaking again to mention his desire to purchase things. At that moment, the apothecary looked around and said, I brought a few bottles of sedatives. Again? He really brought it. I already forgotten all about it. Ordered to be different from his past self, Klein could only pretend that he wasn't around. After shouting a few times and seeing that there was no response, the apothecary muttered, that guy didn't come this time. Maybe he's dead somewhere. Thank you for your blessings. Bro just dead flagged him. But it's delightful that you failed to recognize me, Klein heaved a sigh of relief. The apothecary habitually asked for a spring of the elf's marrow crystals again, but it was in vain as usual. Moments after he shut up, a woman whose face was completely shrouded by a hood. Oh, it's the same woman from before, by the way, who sold the meat cleaver and also the sword. With 2 boxes at her... Oh, it's Shio! By her foot said, with 2 boxes at her feet. Is it Shio? Maybe not. Short woman. A kid? I have 2 weapons with beyonder effects. It must be the lady who sold the inscribed steel sword the last time. Yeah, it's the same lady. Okay, it's not Shio. Right? My spirituality instincts as a seer tell me that. She has another 2 similar weapons. Backing her is some beyonder armament organization, right? Well, maybe she has an artisan behind her. Also, it's not Shio, yeah, but it's the same person from before. Also known as Sequence 6 of the machinery specialist. And ooh, we know that, right? Machinery specialist. I think that sounds familiar. Oh, you can't see. Yeah, we do. Klein looked over with anticipation. He had agreed to give the son a beyonder weapon worth 500 to 700 pounds, which will be effectively his combat ability. Oh, he's gonna spend all his money though. Sheesh. He didn't promise a specific type and characteristics so long as it was similar to and could be used. He will buy it. In any case, the son wasn't picky about it. I see. That would be cool. Anyway, that was a good task chapter. We had a beyonder gathering from demo. It wasn't the based and good one, you know, above the grey fog, but we have the one on ground in BACKLUND with the apothecary and the Eye of Wisdom. I'm gonna stream again tomorrow, by the way. I made some theories as well. I'm guessing like Klein is gonna buy this weapon next episode, next chapter. I wanna see what beyonder weapons can do and what kind of like beyonder powers do they have. And yeah, I mean the only theory we had today was 2 of them. Kapim is a beyonder tycoon mafia boss. He sold off Seabird to be murdered. Savant and lawyer pathway are interchangeable. I mistype interchangeable, but yeah. So we'll see you guys in tomorrow, like 22 hours from now or something like that, or 21 hours from now. I'm gonna go watch Jujutsu Kaisen. If you do watch that as well, reaction is probably coming later today. We'll see you soon. Thank you for coming.